Welcome back, crafty friends. It is Alicia of the Call Me Crafty Al YouTube channel, and today I am back with the December 2017 episode of Oh So Inspired. This month we used a different type of inspiration. I chose a picture that I found originally on Pinterest of a decorated Christmas mantle. And I will link the original blog post below. It's Jennifer Allwood, I believe is the name of the blogger, who shared her Christmas mantle. And there was so much in that photo to take inspiration from, so many different elements, that I am super excited to see what the rest of the team does with this inspiration. I will link all of the collaborators below, and I hope that you will go see how they use the inspiration piece. Give them a thumbs up, maybe leave a little love in their comments. Right now I'm going to share the inspiration photo with you here on video. As you can see, there are so many elements in there that any type of crafter could take some inspiration from, whether you're going to be doing a paper craft or something completely different. So for my creation, I decided to just make a clean and simple Christmas card. And as I go through the tutorial here in just a little bit, I will be sharing exactly why I chose what I did and about the layout. When you get to the end of this video, I hope that if you enjoyed it, you will give this video a thumbs up. And if this is your first time visiting my channel, I hope that you'll be inspired to hit that subscribe button below. As always, welcome back to my subscribers and regular viewers. I enjoy each and every time you stop by. Let's get on with the tutorial. Before I get started with the actual creation of the card, I wanted to share with you some of the products I pulled out and kind of explain how I thought these would go with the inspiration picture. Let's go ahead and start with this right here. This is actually a paper pad from the Dollar Tree, and inside of it are 3 different wood grain papers. I really liked this one for maybe the background in some way, because in that original mantle photo, it was like there was a reclaimed wood door or something, you know, using old barn wood. So I thought that this one would look really neat with that. So I pulled that out. Now for my inks, I grabbed red currant and black tea, and those are fresh ink pads. And also in the mantle photo, there was lots of pops of red, so that's why I pulled that out. And then I'm not sure for my sentiment if I'm going to use black or red, so I pulled the black out just in case, and I might also use this for some distressing around the edges. For dies, I had chosen this stamp and die set from Hampton Art, and there's a couple deer head stamps as well as a sentiment, but why I mainly pulled it out was for the deer head die cut. Of course, on the mantle there was that large white glittery deer head on there, so that's where I was going with that. Speaking of glitter, I did just mention that in the original photo, the deer head was like white glitter. Now I didn't know how I was going to get my pop of red, so I went ahead and pulled out my Martha Stewart garnet and crystal fine white glitters. Not sure yet which I'll use. Another die I got out is my Mary die, which is from the Hero Art stamp and die set. This has some sentiments that go along with it, and I might be using the word Christmas from that stamp set. Now, one thing I did forget to bring in, and I will now, I pulled out this trim that I bought at Dollar Tree, and it is rows of red gems, and they're already self-adhesive. I wasn't sure if I was going to put that on the card, because on the mantle she had those red garlands kind of strung, so I grabbed that. For my papers, I'm going to be using a gray card base, and that is because at the back of the picture, or the background, the fireplace itself was gray, and I thought this paper went really well with the wood grain from the paper pad. I have a scrap of white just to make my wood grain paper a little bit thicker, and then a piece of red. Again, not sure how I'll use it or if I will, but I pulled it out. So let's go ahead and get started. The one thing I do know for sure is I'm going to be using a piece of this paper. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. And I'm going to show you kind of a preliminary or like a trial run that I tried with this. I want to make something similar to this with it. I wanted it to look like planks of wood, and I tried it without inking around the edges and with inking around the edges, and inked edges look much better. It's easier to tell the planks apart, so I'll probably go with that. But what I'm going to do to have a sturdier background and something to put on the card base, I am going to cut a small scrap of white down to 3 1/4 by 5. All right, and I'll explain here in a minute why those dimensions. I'm going to go 3 1/4 wide and 5 inches tall. I am going to cut my piece of pattern paper down to 3 1/2 inches wide by 5 inches tall. And you'll notice that those dimensions are slightly different. They are the same height, but I am cutting this 1/4 inch longer than I did the white piece. And this is so when I adhere the boards onto the cardstock, I can offset them, but use the side of the cardstock to align each board left to right. And then I don't have any white cardstock sticking out over here when I align it there. What I'm going to do now is go and cut my pattern piece into 1/2 inch strips. So now I have all of my wood reclaimed boards. I'm going to take my fresh ink, black ink pad, and just ink around all the edges. And that's again just so when I put them together later, there's more definition between the boards. So now I have all of my boards ready to adhere to my background paper. What I do, and when I go and adhere these on, I don't worry about keeping them in the same pattern they were on the original paper because it's a little bit more realistic that way. So I just put adhesive on the back, and then I'm going to start aligning it in the left corner. And you will see it hangs over the right just a little bit. My next board, I put on adhesive again, and then I will align it with, it is the right side, but when I turn it around, it'll be the left again. So what I'm going to do is just go back and forth and get all of my boards on my piece of cardstock. So now my background is done. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to my card base. Now you'll see, because I cut it a little bit skinnier, I did allow for the offsetting. There's pretty much an even border around the outsides. I'm going to adhere this with some foam tape. So my background is ready to go now. The next thing I am going to do is use my deer die cut, and I'm going to cut 2 of those from white And then I am gonna glitter a white and a red one and see which one I prefer. While I have the die cutter out, I'm gonna go ahead and die cut my Mary. I will be putting adhesive on the front of the deer, so those are gonna go face down. And then while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and put adhesive on my sentiment. Notice I had a stray hair in there. I have long hair and I shed pretty much like a dog. So at my house, we're always finding my hair all over the place. So now I have some with adhesive on the back in case I want to add some DNA to a card. But anyway, when I go to rub this adhesive, I am going to want to do it very carefully and really hard because I want the front of this deer to have a very nice solid coat of glue so my glitter will stick really well. So I'm going to be extra vigilant about getting this nice and sticky. I will be using an oldie but a goodie, my Tidy Crafts tray that long ago I lost the stopper to, but I will be doing my glitter over this so I can just pour the extra right back in to my container. So I am going to get rid of the glue goobers around the antlers because I do only want the glitter where the deer head is. What I'm going to do now is just pour that all over my deer die cut. I'm going to be very generous because I can get this all back. Oh, okay, that was excessive. But then I'm just going to push it down into there. And then tomorrow at work, I will be finding glitter all over. So it'll be like a little party. Tap off the extra. So I don't know if you can see that, but that is very pretty, nice and shiny. So here is one. Oh, I like that against the white. Try to get as much of that glitter back in the pan and then back into my glitter container. My next one, I am going to use the red glitter. Oh, look at all that glitter. I'm going to be finding this for days. Oh well, we'll worry about that later. So now I have to decide what I'm going to use on here. Which one? I think I'm going to have to go with the red. I like this one better over here on the adhesive backing, but I think this one stands out better on that background. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to use the word Mary on here. I'm going to trim this down some just so I can get a better picture of what it's going to look like on the card without all the white space around it. I'm going to go ahead and put my deer head down, and again I will be using foam for this. I'm just going to cut this in a few pieces. I honestly think that with this card, less might be more. I am a very clean and simple card maker, generally, and sometimes for me, less is more instead of trying to keep adding. I think that I am going to say this card is complete. I hope you enjoyed that little look at what inspired me for this month and how I created this card. If you make something that's inspired by the photo, I hope that you'll share a link below in the comments. As always, I hope you're having a crafty day. Bye-bye.